At the opening of the legerdemain section, Wesley, comes a very simple move that's become almost a flourishy cut used even by guys in local bars and local games, the Charlier cut.
Yes, except that Erdnase, or his printer, made a little mistake.
Little oops.
Yeah, and if you look at the text, it says it's Charlie's cut.
Did Charlier steal it from Charlie?
No, I think it's pretty safe to say that there was no Charlie involved in this at all.
It's a typo.
Yeah. If he had meant Charlie, the name, it would have been apostrophe S. But if you simply change the S to an R, it's Charlier.
Right.
And if there was any doubt about that, on page 192 of the book, the name is mentioned again in context.
And spelled correctly.
And spelled correctly. So it's pretty clear that he understood that the name was Charlier, but apparently whoever set the type for the book didn't understand that.
Well, that's that little notation out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's do them both sideways together, shall we? Little dueling Charlier.
Okay, but I want to make one little point before we begin.
Okay.
Okay. We will both be doing it with the fourth finger at the base, which I think both you and I agree is the way it should be done. However, not every description of the move does it that way. Many keep the finger around on the front.
I think this gives you safety because
I do too, and I think it gives you an alignment advantage.
Yeah. And oddly enough, I stuck with the first finger round as well because I really like the protection that gives me. I noticed you start with it just there.
Yeah, I can do it either way, but this makes sense to me, and I even like the idea of tilting it back a little bit so that it rests on that finger.
Exactly. So now, so while we both do it together, because it really doesn't matter if you start there or there. That's
no,
really
it really
redundant.
doesn't. The only reason I bring the finger around is to re-square afterward.
Right.
You know?
So what you're basically doing is lifting with the thumb, and then allowing your packet to drop.
There are two ways to go with this. There are two ways to go with this. You can either bring it to the fingertips and let the bottom packet drop out, and then push it up with your first finger and have it come around.
Yeah. Let's just show that action, by the way, before you go on. So this first finger is actually pushing there, and it's pushing to the back, and it's letting this packet right over the fingernail of the first finger.
Correct.
Until it clears, and then you can square.
Exactly.
And at that point, lift up again, and that's why you need that grip there.
Okay, but there's another way to go.
I thought there might be.
Yeah, and that's that you can start out with it on the flat of the palm, and you can lift the upper section and then push. Now, you'll get the same thing. As the first finger pushes the packet far enough, the other packet will fall down on it, landing on the back of the finger, and then the packet comes back over the top, and you're back in the same position.
And what's nice about that, of course, if you watch the first one, it's quite a big motion, which is why I suspect it's become a flourish cut as opposed to a pass. Although, of course, in many of the gambling books, you'll see pictures like that.
Yes.
Which...
Yeah, using an arm screen.
Yeah, don't get me going on that one, because I think it's nonsensical. But this one, where you start here and lift, actually minimizes the motion quite considerably.
That's true.
And in fact, if I may, I played with this a lot, and I think I have another version that minimizes it even further.
Oh?
I believe so.
I'll be interested to see it.
With my one, it starts flat. Now, what's going to happen is a little lift, and the first finger, the thumb's going to lift a little. The first finger's going to kick in and kick this packet back.
Okay.
Now, I'm still gripping here and here, but now somewhat similar to some of the other moves that will be described here. The thumb's going to grip the packet here.
Yeah.
And now just sneak it round this way.
All right. Well, you're not in Charlier territory anymore.
No, but it's kind of, it was inspired by the Charlier thing. But it's basically it's trying to minimize the action.
Yeah. It's a nice flourish cut.
Yeah.
I don't know how practical it would be at the card table, but a nice flourish cut.
I can tell you exactly how practical it is at the card table.
Go for it.
Not at all.
Well, then let's look at something else.
Why don't we? Now, Wesley, the next shift is of particular interest, I think, not necessarily because of usability, but because of the thinking behind it. Because as we know as card guys, most shifts either take the top to the bottom sideways, or the bottom to the top sideways.
Yeah, with
However,
a couple of
Erdnase-
exceptions.
With a few exceptions, yeah. And this is one of them. In the Erdnase is talking about taking the bottom to the top along the length of the deck. Now, people
Correct.
might think this is insane, but in your hands, it actually looks rather delightful. Could you show us a demo of this?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it for you.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
No, come on, Wes, you're teasing me now.
No.
Turn over that top card. I want to make sure, man.
Oh, okay. Look. And it's down in the middle of the deck.
It's pretty frisky, isn't it?
Well, it's an unusual shift.
Can you explain it for us?
No.
I'll punch you.
What a good that's going to do.
Point.
No, I'll show it to you.
Right.
Interestingly, it's a lot like the SWE shift.
Done sideways on then, almost,
In a way, although arguably a little bit easier.
Really?
Yeah. You start out with a regular break. In other words, instead of the Erdnase break, you're using a regular fourth finger break.
Just a fourth finger break.
That's the idea, okay? You have the first finger curled up underneath, same way.
Curled under.
Okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to get this lower packet to swivel out from underneath, the same way you do in the SWE shift, the way I do it.
So I'm kind of pulling with my little finger here to pivot
That's
down.
right. So what's happening is the upper packet is pivoting
So it's
by pulling
pivoted
back
down
with
to
the
the
little
left.
finger, right?
Gotcha.
Okay? So now, when the hand comes over, the fourth finger can hit this part of the shelf.
So I'm hitting right here.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And the first finger can hit this part of the shelf.
So almost clawing it then.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, these two fingers are not doing much,
Right.
which gives you an advantage over the SWE shift because in the SWE shift, you can't get at this corner.
Gotcha.
So
we've got
now
more of
I've
a
got,
lock
that's
here.
right. And
That's why it's easier then.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, now I'm going to try and keep these fingers out of the way as I do this so that you can see it, but it's obviously not going to look quite as good as, it would otherwise.
And as I try and learn it, I'm going to try and stop the cards squirting all over the table. That's my thing.
Whatever works.
So I'm basically pressing down.
Right. Now what I'm going to do is pull these cards back out of the way, and that's going to cause that packet to come shooting up, because my first finger presses it up.
So the first finger's kind of pushing
And then
it
the
down.
packet comes back in underneath, and the fingers square the deck.
So let me see if I've got this way. So I'm holding it. First finger's underneath, right?
The first finger's curled underneath.
So now I'm kicking this kind of here.
Yeah.
This finger's hitting here
Right.
and here.
Right.
Now I'm kind of gripping this with the base of the thumb, I guess.
No,
kinda, sort of.
I'm up way above the hand.
Well, you're always above me, Wes.
Come on.
So these two fingers. Now we're gonna kind of it's almost shaded.
Right.
We pull back.
That's it. Pull those back and then come back underneath.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know something that's interesting about this shift, Wes?
What's that?
Is this is the one that makes more noise than the SWE shift, and I don't think there's much way past some noise at some point.
No, but two things to keep in mind. One, the reason for more noise is because you have more card surface passing over.
Of course.
Also, because the cards are lengthwise, the leverage at the scrape point puts greater pressure on.
Right. So there's always going to be an inevitable.
Yes, you're always going to hear.
So isn't it interesting that this isn't called the SWE pass, whereas they call the SWE one the SWE pass, which you can do noiselessly.
Yeah, that's true, but you know what? In both cases, the noise doesn't really matter. These were designed as stand-up stage kind of moves. At that distance, what's a little noise?
Exactly. So this is a stage pass, not one
Yeah,
for the close-up.
yeah,
guys.
I think so. I mean, at stage distances, if you were to do this, it would look like not much of anything.
I was looking at your hands and I didn't see anything apart from a little.
There you go.
So it's a lovely pass.
That's the longitudinal shift.
If you're frightened of that pass, don't be, because if you practice it well, it actually is a very workable and very practical pass.
If nothing else, it's a pretty color change.
Absolutely. Now, Wesley, for quite a while now, we've been very, very kind to Erdnase because the moves have been very, very good.
By and large.
However, I think now we've hit one of those moments where Mr. Andrews is a little off kilter, and I think you have your own viewpoint on this. I think this is a totally unusable move. I have no idea why it's in the book. You're going to give it your best shot to do it.
Yeah, well, this is the move that I believe Vernon said was the toughest move in the book. I suspect that the reason Vernon said it was the toughest move in the book was because he couldn't do it worth a damn.
Well, I would go even further than that and say I would suggest, having played with this move, that nobody can do it worth a damn.
Well, I won't go that far. There may be somebody somewhere who can do this thing and make it look...
Some blind Tibetan nun, that's the only card move she does.
Whatever.
Yes.
But, I've played with it for years, and I can certainly do the mechanics of it, but I have no clue how he intended this thing to be made invisible.
There's no suggestion of what shade to use on the move.
No, the argument, and I put it that way because it is more assertion than anything else, is that the move gets by because the grip is so open that it would seem impossible that you could be doing anything.
So, Wes, let's see your best shot at this little puppet.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You know, Wes, as weird as this move seems to both of us, you're actually doing it pretty fantastically there. And I think you cheated a couple of them. Can you do it for us with a card face up?
Sure.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to make you work so hard, Big.
That's all right.
Wesley, congratulations. You just made an insanely maniacal move. Actually looked rather wonderful. For those of our viewers that would like to put the same amount of work that you have obviously put into it, could you give us the details? And I'm sure this is going to be like a Laurel and Hardy movie, but it'll be funny.
I'll be happy to show you what's happening. I mean, it's what Erdnase describes as best I can figure out what he's trying to describe.
All righty.
You begin with a fourth finger break.
So we're basically holding a fourth finger break between the pockets.
pretty standard. First finger's curled underneath. Okay, so in that sense, it's like the longitudinal shift.
All right, so it's almost the same start position then.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now it gets crazy.
Well, it gets weird, and the back of your right first fingernail, not first finger, first fingernail.
The nail.
Only move I know of like this comes against the right edge of the upper packet. So I got to open this thing up.
So essentially, what you're saying is that the fingernail is actually coming here.
Yeah, and you sort of use the cuticle against the top edge of the deck. Isn't that weird?
Starting to sound like a manicurist here.
Well,
that's okay. So we've got our nail and cuticle in the right place.
Yes. Okay.
My hands are already starting to hurt. By the way.
Your second finger of your right hand comes to the front right corner.
Right at the bottom packet?
Yeah, right here, the bottom packet.
Gotcha.
Right? And your right thumb comes to the same position at the inner right corner.
On the bottom packet?
Yeah, the near right corner.
So basically we're gripping the bottom packet between right second finger
and thumb.
And our nail and cuticle are looking after the top packet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
All right. Now what's going to happen is simultaneously, that finger is going to extend.
So the first finger is pushing the top packet over.
Right. And the second finger and thumb are pulling the lower packet out.
Gotcha.
Now, as you do this, the upper packet will start to tilt.
Right.
And as you're doing this, your first finger of your left hand comes out from under the packet and comes up behind the upper packet which you're pushing. Can you see what I'm doing here?
Gotcha. Yeah, we can see it very clearly.
Okay. And eventually, the bottom of the packets pass each other.
They're going to clear each other.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you can see that real clearly. Good. All right, now, you do a combination of things here, and Erdnase is not real clear about this. I use my fingers underneath to sort of make sure that the packets start to move up.
Right.
Because I think it helps the speed of it. But once you get started, then you're changing directions and the packet rotates back up. It sort of slides upward on the other packet.
And it's almost like it's rotating between your second finger and your thumb. It's like
it's swiveling. It's swiveling between them. Yes.
Can we do that one more time?
Sure.
Liz? Great.
So you're
So
here.
here's your first finger, nail and cuticle.
Right.
Here's your second finger's on this edge.
Right.
Thumb is at the back edge.
Correct.
Now this finger's going to push.
Correct.
As you start to pull with these little guys.
That's right.
Now it's push, 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 push.
Yeah, but
and
the
pull,
important
pull, pull.
thing is that the first finger of the left hand has to move out from under the packet because it's going to have to catch this upper
That's
packet.
right here.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it has to be a backing for it because
It's almost like
otherwise,
something to hold it.
yeah, because otherwise what it'll do is it'll flatten against the palm, and then
Gotcha.
it looks terrible. So eventually it clears
Packet's
at the
clear
bottom,
here.
and then it moves back up.
Okay. As you're pushing here, this packet is actually rotating.
That's correct.
Counterclockwise between the finger and thumb.
That's it. So just one more time,
One more
a
time.
little bit more quickly. All right, it's here, it's there, and it's back up again.
Wow.
That's the move.
I only have one thing to say to you, Wes.
What's that?
You have way too much free time, my friend.
Not anymore.